Hey guys, how you all doing? Welcome back again to another episode. So guys, in this episode we are going to be looking at various video of where a lot of people were homeless, because currently as we speak, they say that getting a house is very hard. And even aside from that, unemployment, because it's when you are working that you have money to get an apartment. Okay, so guys, you feel free to tell me what you think about the video in the comment section as you are watching. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please hit on the subscribe button to join this amazing family. Guys, I will be back in your face to give you my own opinion after watching the video. So guys, let's go there.
You're literally saying eat the rich because you're subconsciously telling yourself that you'll never be rich.
We are saying eat the rich because the rich and the wealthy are literally making the wealth gap so big that the poor are being unalived. I don't know how many times people have to tell y'all this, but most of us are closer to being out on the street than ever seeing six figures. The cost of living is so ridiculous right now that you have to have more than one job. I don't know if y'all are watching what is going on in San Diego with houselessness, but it's really fucking terrible. Watch this clip.
You get told that everything you own is getting thrown away, and if you try to touch it, you go to jail, which makes it even worse on you. I've been ticketed for homelessness, I've been arrested for homelessness, and I've been told that I'm going to get arrested anywhere in San Diego County.
It is literally illegal to be houseless, but the way that systemic oppression works, once you're houseless, it's extremely difficult to not be houseless. People keep bringing empathy into this, and they're like, oh, you lack empathy if you don't care about those billionaires who were on that submarine. I've been around a lot of rich people, and I've been around a lot of wealthy people. There is this bubble that they get put in to the point where they don't see houseless people. They think that houselessness is not a problem, and they think that anybody who becomes houseless or anybody who is experiencing poverty got that way because of poor life choices. Not, because of our shitty healthcare system, which slams people with these giant bills, and the fact that people get sick in the first place because they can't afford food that's not filled with poison. Also, rent control is not a thing. Minimum wage is still ridiculously low. COVID, I can just keep going all day. The point is that we're being so brainwashed into thinking that we can escape poverty. And the point is that the way that this country is going, that is extremely difficult. And if you want to bring spirituality into this, when you're doing money manifestations, you're supposed to wish abundance on other people. You're not supposed to turn away from systemic problems. You're actively supposed to help and hope for abundance for everyone, and question and fight against those who are hoarding wealth, which is limiting the resources for everybody else. So on a spiritual level, if you want to take it there, being a billionaire is against spirituality, because to get to that level of wealth, you have to oppress thousands upon thousands of people. Eat the rich isn't this crab in a barrel concept where we don't want anybody to win. We want everybody to win. And the problem is that is not fucking happening. I'm logging off for today. My blood pressure is too high for this. I just need to say my piece.
I just saw the most mind-blowing and infuriating fact about homelessness on usafacts.org. See, right now, there's 580,000 people experiencing homelessness in the United States. But in 2021, that suddenly dropped to 380,000. Why would that be? Well, the federal government decided that it wasn't safe for people to sleep on the streets during COVID-19 because it could be a vector for the virus. So they provided cities and states with massive funding to rent hotel rooms, provide housing, and get people off the streets. And you know what? It worked. 200,000 people got off the streets in just 1 year. But then the program ended, all that money disappeared, and now we're back up to 580,000. Imagine if that program had been allowed to continue, what a dent we could have made in the problem. This proves that the fact that we allow homelessness is our choice. It's not drugs. It's not an intractable problem. We allow it to happen, and we can solve it anytime we choose to. Do not let anyone ever tell you otherwise.
I don't understand why people are homeless. Just get a job. Okay, where would you like them to find job applications? Places generally don't accept paper applications anymore. They'll just refer you online. What if I don't have a device that connects to the internet? What if I have a smartphone but I can't afford a data plan? What if I am able to make it to a McDonald's or a library to start filling out the application? What do I put down for an address? These all just sound like excuses. Like, really, it's not that hard to find a job. I really don't know if that's true. When I was applying to jobs, it wasn't until application about 45 that I even got an interview. It took over 50 applications for me to land a new job. I know someone who has a master's and applied to 80 different jobs and didn't get any of them. Well, you just need to find a job that's hiring immediately. Like, go to a retail place, find a minimum wage job. It's not that hard. Let's say by some chance I am able to find a job. I get a minimum wage job. I show up on the first day. My clothes likely aren't going to be clean. I'm probably not going to be clean because I may not have access to running water. I may not have hygiene products. I may not be able to afford to bring my clothes to a laundromat. If you were an employer, would you be very happy if your new employee showed up on their first day kind of dirty with wrinkled and dirty clothes? Probably not. Go work a construction job or something where they don't care what you look like. Even if we completely skip over the application process, the interview process, if we assume that any job I apply to is automatically going to accept me, if we skip over providing the necessary documentation to show that I am legally authorized to work in this country, and those documents aren't cheap, we still have problems. Like, how am I getting to and from work? If I'm not well rested, am I going to be able to perform at my job? And if I'm doing something like construction, that's going to be incredibly dangerous to not be well rested. Let alone food. Am I able to afford food throughout the work week? Am I going to be able to do my work if I'm starving? Probably not. Okay, but no, let's keep going. Even if I do get this hypothetical job, when is my first paycheck going to be? At my current job, I get paid monthly, and it took about 4 weeks for my first paycheck. Can I afford to live that long without a paycheck? For the sake of argument, let's say that I get paid bi-weekly and I start at the beginning of a pay period, so my first paycheck is a full 80 hours. At minimum wage, that's still less than $600 before taxes come out. And apartments, you're probably not going to be able to find a studio, a one bedroom. You're going to have roommates, and before you can even get to that point, you're going to need the application fee, you're going to need 2 months of rent so you can cover the security deposit. Like, you can't just... That's not how this works. Anyways, if anyone is interested in helping an unhoused couple in Story County, Iowa, details in the comments.
I saw a really interesting video the other day that said that in 1983, making $30,000 a year is equivalent to 2024 making $164,000 a year. So our parents grew up comfortably on $30,000 a year, very comfortably. And we have to make $164,000 a year just to live the same way that our parents lived in 1983. I think that stat really shows how much inflation has impacted everyone, and it makes a lot of sense now why no one can afford shit. Because making $30,000 a year in 1983 was sufficient because eggs were like 50 cents, maybe even 20 cents. And now it's like $9 for a can of 12. So although the price of everything in your life has gone up, car insurance, rent, groceries, for everything, the price of everything has gone up, wages have not. And that's a huge problem because now 90% of people are living paycheck to paycheck in the U.S. And that stat really puts it into perspective. I saw a really interesting video the other day that said that in 1983, making $30,000 a year is equivalent to 2024 making $164,000 a year. So our parents grew up comfortably on $30,000 a year, very comfortably. And we have to make $164,000 a year just to live the same way that our parents lived in 1983. I think that stat really shows how much inflation has impacted everyone, and it makes a lot of sense now why no one can afford shit. Because making $30,000 a year in 1983 was sufficient because eggs were like 50 cents, maybe even 20 cents. And now it's like $9 for a can of 12. So although the price of everything in your life has gone up, car insurance, rent, groceries, for everything, the price of everything has gone up, wages have not. And that's a huge problem because now 90% of people are living paycheck to paycheck in the U.S. And that stat really puts it into perspective. In 1983, making $30,000 a year is equivalent
to making $164,000 a year in 2023 or 2024. Yes, that's right. And in addition, the middle class isn't dying, the middle class is dead. In 1950, the average household was making $3,000. The average house cost $5,000. So it wasn't too hard. You had about 2.5 times the price of your annual salary would be what you could do to afford a car and a house. Nowadays, people are making an average of $74,000 in household income, and the average house is $450,000. So in order to be considered middle class, the bare minimum of middle class in America right now in 2024, you would have to make $174,000, and that's not doing well.
Well, guys, I know it's not a good thing when someone is homeless, and nobody's ever happy to be homeless, because a lot of these homeless people, most of them are being caused by so many things. Some, the reason why they are homeless is because they don't have a job. Yes, even if they get an apartment, like where would they get money to pay for the apartment? And without them having a job, they can't get a home. So on the other hand, they are going to be homeless. And some actually have this money. Yes, some have money, they are employed, but maybe there is no vacancy, they haven't getting a place to stay currently, and that makes them to be homeless as well. While in other cases, some, they even have so they have the money and they are working, but they don't know how to manage their life. They are living extravagant life without planning for future, without planning for tomorrow. They don't know that nothing is permanent in this world. When they were working, they didn't make use of their sense to use that money properly, and maybe if something happen in the future when the job is being ended, that is going to make them to be homeless. And some people, they even put their hand on apartment that is very very expensive. You know that the money you are earning is very very little, and you went for a budget that is more than you. What will happen next? If you can't afford to pay for the rent, you will be forced to leave the house, and that is going to make you to be homeless. A lot of things can actually occur for making someone to be homeless. So I think one way to reduce this homeless issue is for employment to be given to those people, that are ready to work, that don't have job. I think job should be provided for them so that they can have something to do and use it to pay their rent. Okay, so guys, that is that for now. What are your thoughts about this video? Let me know your own opinion in the comment section. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and turn on your bell icon. Guys, thank you all for watching. Stay tuned and see you all in my next episode. Bye.
That's the bare minimum.